Hello everyone to Fuji Speedway. We're about to close the qualifiers round, qualifier season for the 2024 Hololive GT3 Japan Series. Welcome everyone to Fuji Speedway for round 4, as we mentioned, of the Hololive GT3 Japan Series qualifiers round. It's the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji Speedway, and we're glad to have you all with us for race day today. So anyway, before we get things going, let's take a look into the track map. Of course, here's the track map right here, 4.5 kilometers of Fuji Speedway that every driver needs to deal with. And also, we also wanted to highlight the 12 corners, or rather 16 corners. We apologize for that one. There's actually only 16 corners in Fuji Speedway, 4 more than the previous circuit at Okayama. 55 laps await us for 250 kilometers in terms of race distance. Looking at the target lap time, we might see a high 140. We are seeing low 141 right now as the cars are currently practicing. But for now, we are hoping that we can see more drivers pushing in qualifying, and hopefully we're able to see a bit of a 140s here in Fuji Speedway. Also, looking at the weather, it's going to be very likely that we'll have that as our case. Anyways, it's the qualifiers finale. After 3 qualifiers races, we have basically set the stage for this final race of the qualifier season, and who will make it to the Suyo and who will drop down to Zako. And it's also the venue for the Fit Fest weekend. Obviously, we consider this event to be a warm-up to the Fit Fest event that will come next weekend, which is the Capture the Moment Grand Prix at Fuji. But we'll have right now we're going to be focusing on the 500 race first for Hololive GT3. So let's take a look into the championship order here as we're about to set the stage for the final qualifiers race. Rustin Carrascio, of course, leads the qualifier standings, and I believe based on the points that he has earned so far, he is automatically qualified to the Suyo Series, mathematically qualified to the Suyo Series. So expect Rustin Carrascio to basically hang back in the lower end of the leaderboards on this race once this race rolls forward, because he has no reason to risk it. Elsewhere, we have Irina Nakamura, Raja Kaczynski, Tyler Williams, who has scored his first win in Hololive GT3 the round prior at Okayama. Mr. Salman, who has had an absolutely amazing season for ASCII so far, currently 5th with 1 race to go in the qualifiers. Jeff Rohan, Sean Pauly, Lorenzo Ricci rounding out the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And also we have Mamashita Reza, who is potentially in his 5th final Hololive GT3 start for Himomori Luna, as he has announced that he will concede his ride to a new driver, possibly. Whatever the case is, that after 2024, Mamashita Reza will no longer be racing for Himomori Luna, so he has every reason to try to at least 1 qualify for the Suyo, 2 win another Hololive GT3 race, and another get the Suyo championship for Himomori Luna. Of course, we have Rim Gold, who won at Tournament Suyo around prior. Jeff Rohan, who won on top of this, he is currently 6th. Jay Goodwin, Kaminari Rimba, Sophia Young, Kyle Gillen, and Carlos Russia round up from 11th to 15th. We've got drivers in scary positions like Anil Vienna, Maverick Xian, Yu Chaeyon, Ali Duan, and Sky. 18th to 20th drivers like Chaeyon, Grant, and Sky had very good races last time out. Hopefully they're able to consistently bring up performances for them to qualify for the Suyo. The drivers outside looking in, Nicolette, Kumi, Simple, Leo, they're going to try to get a very good performance and hope that the drivers up top have struggled. And also we have Reedy, Javier Mendez, Daniel Barger, Michael Turner, second with Jeff Clark, and rounding up the top 30 places. let's get on board into qualifying. I'm Mama Shazri Reza in the commentary booth, and unfortunately, it's still just going to be me on Sundays. But let's just get this race underway anyways. The cars are finally out here, and it looks to me that the first car is actually Isakaiji Mikolev, first car out on track. Now looking at Mikolev, as we've seen in the qualifier standings, he actually hasn't been performing at his best in recent time. He had seen glimpses where he basically was in the Suyo, but right now Mikolev currently out of it by only a meager amount of points. Let's just hope that he's able to point himself back in the right direction and get himself in the Suyo, and hopefully that will be the case. I mean, if you look at Mikolev's points tally, he's only 16 points behind Ed Sky in the final Suyo spot. So obviously Mikolev just needs to do enough for him to at least get that Suyo spot, but it's going to be a tall order for him, as of course he is not on the Suyo spot. But anyways, let's see if we can focus on some other drivers who have just got out on track. Next driver out is Hofumi, also out from the Suyo for now, except he has a higher order to do, basically do. He has a tall amount to climb, as he is 69 points behind Ed Sky in the final Suyo spot. So he also needs to have a very, very good result. So Hofumi, let's go on board number 1, in car number 1. Representing Tokyo Sora, Hofumi. As you can see here, you need to have a very, very good exit off of the final corner at Panasonic. This is so that you can set yourself up for this 1.5 kilometer long straight. And as you can see here, full 6 gear for the Nissan GT-R, as they're about to top in at 290 kilometers an hour. But unfortunately, there's going to be the issue of traffic. And as you can see here, that will be Hofumi's lap pretty much validated, because you see here there's Reza brothers have already impeded the two. So let's focus on the other driver who have already set a lap in. And we're going to focus on Cho Byung-un now. You can see here, right at around 150 meters into turn 1 here. It's the slowest, one of the slowest corners of the track here. And then coming into the King at turn 2. And then coming into Coca-Cola corner in turn 3 here. Just hangs it around in 3rd gear. And then into the very, very long 100R. This is where the Nissans absolutely struggle here. Long, medium to high speed corners. That's where the Nissans struggle. They can just brake just before the billboard, right at the hairpin, and then get a good arc there. You can see here braking at the hairpin. You have to hang around in 2nd gear, and then flat out at turns 8 and 300R, and coming into Dunlop. Use the billboard as a reference point on when you need to brake. You can see here, let's just go that So Byung-un isn't impeded much by the driver, was in front. 102.704 for Byung-un here. Now coming into 13, and then coming into the next corner complex, that just turns 14 and 15. You can see here, he was trying to manage his gaps as well as he could. And then you can see here him trying to brake and turn at the same time at Panasonic corner. Hope that he can have a good exit at the final corner, that's Panasonic, for this, again, 1.5 kilometer long straight to end the lap here at Fuji Speedway. So Byung-un, where will he stand in the leaderboards right now? He currently sits at a 140.076. This would mean that he is currently beaten the lap time target, so nice to see the achievement happening. Now let's take a look into some of the other drivers who will cross the line soon. You have Mikolev, Grant, and Tanara already crossing the line. Salman crosses the line only 147.29, so obviously he is somewhat impeded by Jeff Clark up front. And we got our drivers here like Rim Olgor currently in 4th. Kizuhara Leo up in 3rd place. More drivers trying to set their lap times here. And now we have Rustin Karashu actually performing very, very well here. 146.05 if I'm not mistaken. So for another good lap here from Rustin Karashu to put himself up front. If he continues his performance as it is, then he will lock up the Qualifiers Championship. Of course, there will be trophies given to Rustin Carrasco as the Qualifiers Champion, but that will be given later. And meanwhile, we have some also hard hitters from Team Nissan. We have Ed Sky also qualifying continuously inside the top 5. He is currently 5th. And then we have basically the Hololive team, Nissan, actually performing very, very well here with Cheon 2nd for Takani Lui. And speaking of which, we are looking at a huge surprise here. Altus Antanaro, 139.995 for Antanaro after what has got to be a very, very abysmal season for him so far. Obviously, for Antanaro, given his and there's also Cameron Riba off, he's now down 27, but we'll talk about him later. Antanaro, of course, not able to score any points in the first 3 races of the qualifiers due to crashes and all that, and also unfortunate incidents. Antanaro, of course, needed a win and hope that his cut-line rivals don't perform very, very well. And right now, Antanaro is doing the best he can, but it'll still probably be all for naught. Looking at the rest of the table here, we also have Mohamed Shazan Reza now up in 7th place behind his Honda rival, which is Crystal Salman. Obviously, these two have history battling each other, of course, at Fuji Speedway. And now, as we said about that, Yu Chae-yeon beat Antanaro's time, 139.922, 700 above Antanaro's time. Faster than Antanaro, that is. Anyways, we have been seeing some accidents in qualifying, which resulted in Cameron Riba's car being somewhat damaged, so he's not going to take any further part. Meanwhile, we have Ed Sky continuing to perform very, very well here for Team Nissan. Of course, he is currently 6th in the leaderboard for Team Nissan. And you can see here, and then Shazan Reza continues to improve there using the slipstream from Tyler Williams. He's now up into 6th place, beating Crystal Salman to get himself into row 3. Trend of Lexus cars not performing as intended continued, but we are seeing improvements here. Vlasa Damashan now gets up into 17th place. Johan Sinful outside the studio only able to get into 21st. And Daniel Barger somehow also improves with a 12th place run in his Suisse Nissan. And Callan Gibbons showcasing his champion tenacity. He is currently in 17th for Roboco, and now we are seeing a side-by-side battle here between that looks like, excuse me, that is Jeff Clark, and that looks like Mohamed Cashew currently down in the bottom spots here. 4 Lexus cars currently down in the bottom 4. Not what the Team Lexus are looking for, as they only have 6 cars in the Suyo spots. They don't want it to be reduced to 5 or 4. So they're just hoping that they could have a very good result at this point. The existing driver will just try to survive. We also have Crystal Salman currently being blocked by Mohamed Cashew. Interesting sight. Anyways, just wanted to give a bit of a plug. Next week will be the Hololive 5th Fest and the Super Expo for the year 2024. So if you want to have tickets, especially to the 5th Fest where the Hololive members will be performing at Adak-RMS, there's a QR code in the bottom left of your screen. I hope everyone's able to scan the QR code so that everyone is able to gain access to the 5th Fest concert. Anyways, also a bit of a disclaimer that we are not affiliated with Cover Corp. This stream is also not sponsored and not monetized as a result. So we're just sharing this because we know that we do have Hololive fans watching this live stream here. And here we can see a bit of a side-by-side battle between Mohamed Cashew and Crystal Salman. You can see Crystal Salman already trying to continue on his lap. Obviously thanking Mohamed Cashew for the slight toe. So that will be a good way to start the lap for Crystal Salman, who is currently the 3rd best Honda in the field, currently beaten by Danilo Goyena in that number 11 inside of a Cora car. Here's Crystal Salman coming across the first sector, and he's only 5/10 behind the pole time set by Yu Chae-yeon. Of course, Honda has history of winning here. Of course, having, if I'm not mistaken, 7 wins since 2022. Obviously, we've had drivers like Kizuhara Leo winning twice, and then we also have Momashita Reza winning once, Sean Pauli winning twice, and the former driver for Yukihana Lami, that is Putri Farakama, she also won twice in Fuji. So Honda has an amazing record here in Fuji. But for the other teams here, like for example Lexus, where they would have won 3 times. And that is Count Gibbons, Mama Shakif Reza, and Daniel Bauer. They've also had history of winning here. That will put Lexus 3rd in the wins list at Fuji Speedway. And then there's also Team Nissan, where we had Gabriel Ariadne, and we had the likes of, well, Gabriel Ariadne is the only winner from Team Nissan in Fuji, despite the odds for Nissan at the moment being a track that favors them. Obviously, Nissan hasn't been very lucky in Fuji Speedway, so hopefully it's going to be turned around with what's possibly going to be a second Nissan win in Hololive GT3. And right now, as it stands here, Antanarao needs to pick up the pace in qualifying for him to get himself into the Suyo series. And of course, this also has to rely on Byung-eun, Cheon, Ed Sky not qualifying, well, not having a very good race, and basically finishing on the lower end of the points while Antanarao tries to climb himself back up. Now, here's the thing: if Ed Sky finishes inside the top 25, then Antanarao is most likely not going to make the Suyo. And that will be the case for the other Nissan and Honda drivers inside the 16th to 20th spot. So, of course, there's lots of nerves coming around for Antanarao, but he is trying at the very least here. But of course, I think we really can't tell if he has already pitted or not. As you can see here, in the second time, he's currently on an out lap. So he is currently trying to warm his tires up. So let's take a look into Alex Antanarao and see if he is able to mount a comeback charge after having 3 abysmal races. Right now, general expectations for the Okayu team is that they should at least try to go out with a bang before they inevitably would go to the Zako. But Antanarao is not going to give up just yet, because he's got a tenacity in himself, and he's going to try again for a lap here. He's going to try to at least beat Chakariza and Yu Chae-yeon. Nakamura has seen some improvements, then go for Barger and Shazrin Reza. And as you can see here, he's only just behind Isakaji Mikolev here. Here's Antanarao trying to get into Sector 1. He is not faster than his previous time in the first sector. Meanwhile, we're looking at Barger, who's also improving in his first sector. He's gonna try to save his Suyo status, despite Suisei not preferring the original uniform as of late. And Barger not improving in the second sector, unfortunately, but to see him qualify high up in 6th place is something to be excited for. Meanwhile, we have Irene Nakamura currently stuck behind traffic. She's not going to be seeing any improvement. Alex Grant, however, is up front and is in serious possibilities to improve, but however, he is going to pit. And looking at other drivers here, Sheldon Reza isn't going to improve any further. He's going to stay in 11th. Final minute of qualifying is about to get underway, with Nakamura going up into 13th after beating Tyler Williams. Fastest Lexus is still Johan Sinful, who is going to try to salvage his status as a Suyo driver. Of course, after round 3, he has been bumped down to the Zako. Let's see if he's able to pull up a comeback. The current gap so far here, only 6 drivers go faster than 140.4, and these will be the top 6 Nissan drivers. Cheon and Shakib Reza are about to lock the front row. Cheon is about to solidify her place on the front for the first time in her ARO career. And for Takani Lui, qualifying has officially concluded, and right now we are still looking to see if there are any improvements, and right now no one is improving as of yet. We got 19 cars who have yet to cross the line here. That's Muhammad Shazrin Reza and Jeff Rohan, I believe. Sorry, Isakaji Mikkel already going to cross the line here to finish their time in qualifying. That will be Shazrin Reza, who will qualify as high as 11th. Hopefully he will not be involved in any accidents. More drivers crossing the line here. Richie Rod, Vlasa Damashnev, and then we have Mohamed Cashew, Jennifer Rohan, Janet Barger says it's their time is up in qualifying. Meanwhile, we're looking at Alta Santana, who is trying his absolute best to get any sort of improvements in that number 5 Okayu Nissan. Obviously, he is trying his absolute best, but right now, the odds for him is that it's not going to be very, very likely for him to qualify inside the front row at this rate. And that will be it for him. He will qualify 3rd. And then there's Rim Olgo, who's not going to be seeing any improvement. And then we have Hofu Mi currently up in 10th place. Yu Chae-yong will peel into the pits as a probable pole sitter. And then we have Fabio Mendez and So Byung-eun. Meanwhile, we have Fumi improving his time. He's now up into 4th place. Shakib Reza crosses the line. He doesn't improve. He will be in the front row at the very least. No improvement for anyone so far. And that should be it for qualifying at this race. Shakib Reza does not improve. Fumi improved by only in for 4th place. And that will be Yu Chae-yeon qualifying on pole position for the Capture the Moment 500 in Fuji. And it's confirmed. Yu Chae-yeon, first pole position for her in the Takane Loi number 61. She will start on pole. So let's take a look into the starting lineup here for the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji. We have Yu Chae-yeon currently sitting on pole position, being lap time expectations and then some for Takane Loi, and actually very much better than everyone else. Look at the gap between her and Shakib Reza, 0.5 of a second. She's got to be qualifying second. She's got to be extremely proud of. And then meanwhile, we're also going to be taking a look into Shakib Reza, who is qualified in 2nd place. The Neneki Nissan has already scored a pole position in multiple occasions. Shakib Reza returns the car to the pole position for the first time in Fuji since early 2022. Alta Santana is going to try to salvage his season with possibly a win here in Fuji Speedway in order for put himself into the studio. But of course, with his rival currently up top, it's going to be difficult for him. Hopefully, starts 4th for Tokyo Tora, which will do the same thing as Santana, but this time he will be in a much more favorable position. So Byung-eun 5th for Shiranui Flair and Rustin Karashio, who is already set to qualify for the studios. He will start 6th. Daniel Barger starts 7th for Hoshimaki Suisei, alongside Danilo Goyena 8th for Usada Katora. Chris Salman starts 9th for ASCII, alongside Sky 10th for Kazama Iroha. Shakib Reza in his final Fuji start in Hololive GT3. He will start 11th alongside Fabio Mendes for Hakoi Koyori. Irene Nakamura starts 13th for Akai Hato alongside Tyler Williams, incumbent race winner for Amane Kanata. He starts 14th. Richie Ross Fubuki starts 15th alongside Ali Partoyo 16th for Minato Aqua. And then 17th is Jake Goodwin for Okami Mio alongside 18th place Maverick UCM for Omar Bolga. 19th place is Alex Tran, and alongside him is Riliu in the row 10 for Mami and Cole respectively. Johnson was the first leg car on the field. He will start 21st for Natsu Iramatre alongside 22nd Vlasa Damashnev for Aki Rosenthal. Now give us the 2023 Hololive GT3 Japan Series champion starts 23rd alongside Jeff Rohan 24th for Tokoyami Toa. And then 25th is Lorenzo Ricci for Hosha Marine alongside Jeff Clark 26 for Nakiri Ayame. 27 goes to Raichi Kaczynski for Yusuke Choko, and 28th for Shogai Noel, that's Michael Turner. Kizaru Leo starts 29 in the track that he won last year for Murasaki Shion. He starts 29 alongside Rim Olgor. 30th place for Ozora Subaru. 31st goes to Isakaji Mikolev for Sakura Miko Honda. Sean Paul starts 32nd for Minogami Korone. Kamina Reba, who only said one time in qualifying, he will only be good enough for 33rd. Alongside Mamakashi 34th for Usunamaki Watame. That will be an all Shishiwata back row. An unfortunate thing, but it happens so. Anyways, before we get this race started, I want to hear everyone in the comments your thoughts and your predictions on who is going to win the race here in Fuji, the Capture the Moment 500. I hope everyone is still able to tune in here. We are seeing a good amount of viewership. Welcome everyone to Fuji Speedway for what has got to be, well, what is possibly going to be a riveting race here. And so we have Yu Chae-yeon and Mawasaki Reza on the front row for Takane Lui and Momo Suzunene respectively. These two will try their best to at least put their names in the Suyo. And for Shaki Reza, he is currently out of it, currently in the bottom 4. Let's see if there will be changes of fortune for a lot of these drivers, especially for the ones at the back. Will we see an upset in the final race of the qualifier season here in the Capture the Moment 500 in Fuji? We'll have to wait and see as the race finally is about to get underway. It's Yu Chae-yeon on the front row. Shaki Reza is alongside her. And the 55 laps at Fuji Speedway gets underway finally. And now you can see here, it looks to me that it's a very, very good start here from Yu Chae-yeon. Of course, apologies here if it gets a bit slow here at the start. We're trying our absolute best here because everyone here is trying to get a bit comfortable and calm here. You can see a bit of 3 wide at the back. Let's see if there are any accidents forming at the back. And no, fortunately, it's all fine. Everyone manages to survive very, very finely. And now you can see there might be some side-by-side battles here between Das Williams and DuCM. There's also Richie Roy and Ali Fartoya battling. Daniel Barger goes down into 10th place after losing out to Fabio Mendes, who had an amazing start into 9th place. Shazin Reza drops down to 12, and now you can see here even more side-by-side battles. Oh, there was a bit of a nudge there, but Taiwan is able to get a better exit off of the hairpin. It's going to be Yu Chae-yeon leading this race, Hofumi second, with an amazing start from the Tokino Sora Nissan. Shaki Reza and Kurashio 3rd and 4th, and Tanara 5th. Goyena 6th, Byung-in 7th, Salaman 8th, Mendes 9th, and Bargaran is at the top 10. And as you can see here, there's just so many battles left, right, and center. You just could not predict how this race goes here with a lot of cars at the race start here. Damashev on the outside, really on the inside at Nets. And as you can see here, really manages to make the pass down. You can see here, there's a bit of a body slam a bit between, that looks to me, was Alex Grant and Johan Sinful. I believe that is those are the drivers here. Yes, that is the case here. And now Hofumi is able to get himself back up into Yu Chae-yeon's grasp as we're about to start lap 2 here in the Capture the Moment 500 in Fuji here. And Tanner, of course, has already dropped down to 5th place after the start sees him drop down to 5th after a pretty lackluster start. We're looking at more drivers going side by side. We are seeing a potential 3-wide battle. There's contact between Sinful and Grant as Clark tries to make it 3 wide. Sinful and Sean Pauli didn't make it easy for each other. And now you can see Michael Turner also trying to make moves against Jeff Clark on the inside of Coca-Cola Corner. Riveting racing action here in Fuji Speedway, and it's only lap 2. And now you can see here on the onboards, Michael Turner tries to find a way past Jeff Clark for position here. He tries to find some space, finds the space down the inside, and Michael Turner tries to get a good exit off of Jeff Clark, and he manages to do so. And now Jeff Clark under pressure from Kizuhara Leo, which he's also going to be under pressure from Rim Olgor. And now you can see Kizuhara Leo tries to make the move stick at Dunlop, and that is what he's able to do. And now you can see here Jeff Clark continues his descent down the field. Now you can see it here. Rim Olgor is going to try to challenge Jeff Clark for what would be 26th place, but he's going to try to hang around. Right now, no retirements in the first 2 laps of the race. But meanwhile, we are seeing a bit of a battle here. But now you can see here, that's not really the case here because it's still Yu Chaeyeon still leading. Fumi is in second, Shaka Reza third, Kurashio fourth, and Tanaro fifth. There's been a lot of battles further back. Just want to remind you how the front looks like. Anyway, for on lap 3 of this race, let's take a look into the race field monitor and who will pit early and who will pit late into this race. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at some of the battles between DuCM and Jake Goodwin. We're going to go on board for DuCM at number 46, Omar Polka Nissan. And you can see here with a very good outside line there from Jake Goodwin. Forces DuCM to back off, and now he has to be on the defensive against Alif Hartoyo. Look at Ryu as well. So everyone's gonna pit and at least at around lap 20. That is going to be the case for Yu Chaeyeon and Ri Liu. Looking at the other drivers here, a lot of the drivers will pit around lap 23, and some drivers will pit around lap 30 and lap 31. We're not going to be seeing any driver who's going to pit very, very late into this race, unless you're Daniel Barger, who will pit at around lap 42. Well, lap 42 at its latest, but anything can change. And as you can see here in Fuji Speedway, the racing action just gets even better here. And as you can see here, Yu Chaeyeon continues to maintain her spot in the lead. Still a Nissan dominant performance here. You can see here Yu Chaeyeon still leads this race. There's a bit of a leaderboard shuffle here as the wrong drivers get credited. Anyways, Yu Chaeyeon, of course, still leads this race. As you can see here, So Byung-eun, of course, down over there. So that's going to be the case. Anyways, looking into some of the other battles here, that looks to me that's Alif Hartoyo against Maverick DuCM and Jake Goodwin against Richie Rod. We have the Fubumi cars battling out for 15 points, and that will be Jake Goodwin's spot. Meanwhile, DuCM will battle against Ri Liu after his attempt to challenge against Alif Hartoyo. Meanwhile, look at Hartoyo trying to challenge Richie Rod. We're looking at DuCM's on board here, as he's also going to be challenged by Ri Liu. Meanwhile, the side-by-side battles between Rod and Hartoyo continue to deliver here. And you can see, still side-by-side battles here. None of the drivers are going to be giving up whatever they have. Ri Liu is going to go down the inside of Ri Liu. There's going to be contact between Ri Liu and Alif Hartoyo. Ri Liu just gave a bit of a nudge to Hartoyo, a bit of a cheeky move there from Ri Liu, as he's going to try to get himself a position. And right now, it's going to be the case. Ri Liu now up into 17th place. Domashnev and DuCM also looking to trade blows between each other. Then we have Jeff Rohan and Alex Grant going side by side. A lot of racing action here. Chaeyeon, Fumi, Shakif Reza now sets the fastest lap of the race, which is very, very nice to see Shakif Reza showcasing his skill in Hololive GT3 still, especially given that Nene has also been somewhat committed to the original uniform. Meanwhile, we have Johan Sinful trying to fend off Alex Grant. Still a lot of side-by-side battles here as we're looking into the start-finish line. We might see a 4-wide launch into turn 1 here. That's Sinful and Grant. There's contact between 3 drivers, and that's going to put Johan Sinful out. It was coming, and that's going to be a good amount of damage to the car. Johan Sinful is not looking to continue in this race. It was a bit cheeky on that 3-wide move. And unfortunately for Johan Sinful, and unfortunately for team for the Matsurisu, the Matsuri car is going to be out from the Fuji race in Hololive GT3 for the 2nd year running in less than 5 laps. Very, very unfortunate scenes here for the Matsuri camp, as they're forced to pack home a bit earlier than usual, with Johan Sinful retiring from this race. Just wanted to check back on the current situations here. Johan Sinful is fortunately back out. And then we have Jeff Clark, who is currently down in 34. We're going to be checking on what has happened to him later on and see what happened to him as he's currently back down in last place. Meanwhile, we have Cheon, and then we have Ho Fu Mi under pressure from Mohamed Shakif Reza. Fumi and Shakif Reza Bill still basically trading blows between each other, but obviously Shakif Reza is going to go for a dive on down the inside. Shakif Reza against Ho Fu Mi, both Team Nissans on a battle of its own. But as you can see here, Fumi tries to shut the door, but Shakif Reza tries to respond to a very, very good exit off of turn 1 coming into Coca-Cola corner. Shakif Reza is going to try to make as much space around the outside as possible, which will be the inside line at 100R. And right now, Shakif Reza showcasing that he's got skills in the number 77 Formosa Sunene car. Very, very amazing racing here for the front two, for the battle for second. Meanwhile, we have Nakamura and Williams going side by side again between each other. These two are going to go neck and neck once again. Nakamura is on the outside with potentially better grip than the Nissan at 100 despite going around the outside. And now down the inside of the hairpin, Nakamura is going to go. Nakamura is going to continue her side-by-side battle with Tyler Williams here. Look at the radar here, and as you can see, they're still side-by-side at 100 at the Dunlop chicane. Nakamura running on the outside and later the inside of Dunlop chicane, and now you can see here the side-by-side battle just hasn't been over just yet. This is amazing racing here in the Fuji Speedway. Great and respectful racing. And now you can see here, she's now pocketed by Jake Goodwin, but at the same time, she's looking for an opportunity against Tyler Williams. And now you can see here, she has absolutely struggled on the traction at nets. And now she's going to be under pressure again from Jake Goodwin. Now it's going to be a Honda Civil War. Now you can see here Jake Goodwin now under pressure from Richie Rod. And now we also get to see Ria Liu also looking for a battle here in Fuji Speedway. Richie Rod and Ria Liu are going to go at it between each other once again. Excuse the lag as we're going to get ourselves a battle into turn 1 here. Look at Ria Liu now making a move against Jake Goodwin. Side by side goes to two Hondas, and again side by side goes to two Nissans. Yu Cheon, of course, builds a gap of 2.4 seconds. Never mind that. Meanwhile, we have Rilu trying to defend his position up front in 15th place with an outside move. And now we have, there's a bit of a jostling for position there between the two Nissans here. Goodwin and, Hartoyo and Richie Rod. Hartoyo's on the inside line. We have Richie Rod on the outside. Now it's going to be the inside for Richie Rod. More racing action here in Fuji Speedway. And you can see here the slightly mangled Minato Aqua number 9 is battling a pristinely clean number 22 Fubuki car. And now as you can see here, both of them still not wanting to give up their own real estate. And there they go, still at Dunlop chicane, and side-by-side battles just keep on coming. It's a very, very amazing sight to see. Meanwhile, as we're looking at some of the other drivers here, you can see here, DCM goes a bit off there. He's going to be under pressure from Alex Grant here this time. We're going to go on board number 46 here to see where Alex Grant's car is. You can see here Goyena hasn't made the move on Antaro just yet. That's just the glitch into the timing tower. So let's take a look back into Grant and DCM. We are still side by side, where this is where tire fall starts to take shape here, as we've already completed 7 laps here in Fuji in the Capture the Moment 500 race. And as you can see here now, you can see Jeff Rohan now trying to pile on the pressure on Maverick DCM for what should be 21st place. And as you can see here, Jeff Rohan now up into 21st so far. Now we have seen some more battle between Damashnev and Rod. Damashnev trying to hang around the outside. Richie Rod here. Richie Rod on the view. And now you can see here, Richie Rod's going to try and hang around the outside. Now looking at Alex Grant, trying to find an opportunity at 100R. Damashnev's going to try to defend. But it's always going to be to no avail. But you can see here Damashnev has grip in the corners and acceleration off of corners. But this is just too good for Vladislav Damashnev. As you can see here, Damashnev tries to get close. But you can see here, he doesn't need to lift at 100R. So we're at a 300R coming into Dunlop chicane, which Nissan has to lift due to the grip differences. Again, apologies for the slight lag here. Meanwhile, we have Nakamura and Ed Sky trading blows. They are now Nakamura is now up to 13th place. Amazing racing here in Fuji Speedway up to this point. Right now, the top 5 remains a Nissan affair with Cheon, Shakif Reza, Fumi, Kurashio, and Taro currently in the battle for the lead here in the top 5 spots. Shakif Reza, of course, trying to catch Daniel Barger. As it stands, Shakif Reza will still stay in the studio, but he will not be in contention to win the qualifiers. Meanwhile, we're looking into another side-by-side battle between Alex Grant and Jeff Rohan for the top 20 spot. And as you can see here, there's also a battle between Michael Turner, or rather, Michael Turner's rear end. That's going to be DCM and Rim Olger. Rim Olger has a team that Lexus cars are doing very, very good in the race, despite qualifying quite poorly. That is because they got better race strategies there than the Nissans and the Hondas. And as you can see here, Rim Olger tries to squeeze it around the outside, or rather the inside of the hairpin, which will be outside 300R. There will be a grip advantage for the Lexus at this corner, so that will be Rim Olger up into 23rd place. Meanwhile, we have Kizuhara Leo against Lorenzo Ricci further back. Still a feisty affair between the two, and then you can see here Kizuhara Leo now losing out on the battle against Lorenzo Ricci. Meanwhile, we are still looking at the drivers at the front. Cheon and Shakif Reza already pulling away against Hofu Mi. Kurashio, as it stands, will win the qualifiers of Hololive GT3 Japan 2024 and basically lock in a spot in the studio. For Shakif Reza and Hofu Mi and Yu Cheon, as it stands, the Nissans will dictate the studio series, but not unless the Honda has anything to say about it, because we also want to talk about Danilo Goyena, currently in 6th place. Of course, Pecora hosted her birthday live, in which she did use her original uniforms alongside Kazama Iroha, which also explains why Goyena and Sky qualified very, very well in the initial stages of qualifying. And then we have Crystal Salmon trying to get close to So Byung-eun for 7th place. We're about to cross the 1/5 mark of this race, and right now we're looking at Salmon trying to catch So Byung-eun for position. Right now, nothing is coming out of it so far, because you can see here, Salmon absolutely gains a lot of time in the Dunlop chicane compared to this one. And now you can see here Shadar Reza against Tyler Williams here. Tyler Williams is going to give Shadar Reza a bit of a headache here. Kana Luna battle here for 11th place here. And you can see here that there's a very, very good placement there from Tyler Williams to get himself up into 11th place. Bump Shazrin down to 12. Meanwhile, Shakif Reza, meanwhile, has a fastest lap of this race, 139.968. You don't get to see the younger of the Reza siblings showcasing a lot of speed, but here we are. Looking at the current gaps here, still looking good so far between their drivers up front. Right now, the battles are going to finally simmer as we're about to reach the 1/5 stage of the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji Speedway. Lots of racing action here in around the first few laps, and right now we're able to basically take it easy as where the race takes a calmer turn for now. And by the way, looking at the drivers at the back here, Jeff Clark is just so far behind, and also Johan Sinfeld down in 33rd, very much separated from the rest of the pack. They're going to be in serious pressure to get lapped very early on in this race. Here's Yu Cheon controlling this race very early on for Takane Loi here. And as we've seen here in the race field monitor, Yu Cheon will pit earlier than everyone else. She will pit on lap 22 at the latest. You can see here Cheon still controlling this race here. Shaka Reza with a new fastest lap of this race, 1:39.930 for the young driver. Obviously, for Shaka Reza, he always has to be under the shadow of his own older brother, who consistently has won more races in Hololive GT3 and Formula Hololive for that matter. But Shaka Reza does have his accolades. He does have a Hololive GT3 win in his record. That was back in 2022 when he represented Roboco. Meanwhile, he does win 2 more Formula Hololive races. 4 more season in, and the first came in Autopolis last year. So for Mawad Shaka Reza, he has every reason to try to get this race win, even if it was at the expense of some other drivers who believe deserve the win more than Shakif. That would be Alcantara, because he has done pretty well in some races. Of course, there was the race in Okayama where he would borderline challenge inside the top 10, only for it to be undone by an accident. Anyways, 80% of the race is to remain. Meanwhile, we have Olgor and Ducien battling out side by side here, with Olgor now trying to fend off Ducien after he has made the overtake. He's now up into 23rd. This will not do Ducien's Suyo Series aspirations any good. Meanwhile, we have Vlasa Damashnev continuing to make his charge up the field. He is now going to put himself into 18th place. Meanwhile, we have at the front, we still have Yu Cheon leading, but it's going to be Vlasa Damashnev still maintaining his spot up top. Right now, no changes so far here, and now you can see here some drivers are incorrectly marked in the timing tower. That is now changed. So some of these overtakes we might miss because we might see it as spam, but we'll have to monitor on the current situation regardless on where the overtakes might have happened here. And looking into some of the drivers who are in the Zako, who is now inside the top 10. We're looking at Daniel Barger, currently inside the top 10 for Shimachi Suisei. It will be a massive upset for basically Team Suisei, for all the Hoshiomis out there who have observed that Suisei has not been pulling up in the original uniforms as much as everyone would have wanted. So Barger is at least trying to negate all of these claims, but at least trying to perform as well as he is. Well, trying to perform as well as he is right now for Shimachi Suisei. He is gonna try to pull out all the stops for his Oshi. As you can see here, Barger trying to catch on Fabi Mendes, who is also out of the studio spots right now. But if Fabi Mendes can get this top 10, he should be able to get himself into the studio. And also Crystal Salman, showcasing his continued consistency. He's now up into 8th place, continuing his top 10 run since Autopolis, after he of course crashed out at Sportsman Sugo. Salman currently in 8th place still, second best out of Team Honda, trying to catch So Byung-eun. And then we have Antarao trying to find his way past Racing Caraccio. Of course, this is just four drivers that Antarao needs to beat for him to at least have a spot inside the Suyo Series. But right now, it's going to be a bit of a mission impossible for him. watch out to Crusher there. Tanner's gap has absolutely dropped. Tanner's gap to Crusher has now dropped down to 5.7 seconds here. But let's see if Tanner can have a very good exit. Another fastest lap from the younger of the Reza brothers. That's Muhammad Shakib Reza setting the fastest lap, 1:39.888. Of course, still Yu Chaeyeon controlling the lead of this race, but you can see here the gap has actually dropped between the leaders. And now you can see here Jeff Clark is at the horizon there of Chaeyeon. So Chaeyeon needs to exercise her next move with absolute caution, as she doesn't want to mess up her approach into overtaking the lap car of Jeff Clark. And you can see here just a bit on the progress chart. And as you can see here, the biggest gainers of from the start here is from Aldo started 30 and is now up into 23rd. Meanwhile, we have some side-by-side battle between Richie Rod and Alex Grant. Alex Grant, of course, still inside the Suyo, but he'll need as many points as possible for him to maintain his status as the driver inside the Suyo. Meanwhile, we have Richie Rod, who's currently out of it. He needs a good result. And here we have Michael Turner and Jeff Rohan, maybe giving each other a bit of headache between the two. As you can see here, Richie Rod trying to get close. But right now it's not going to be close enough for him. As you can see, he's also lost 5 positions at the start. Meanwhile, it's still the status quo up front and still no fastest lap so far. And now you can see here Chaeyeon is about to get close, ever so closer to Jeff Clark here. Meanwhile, Shakireza and Fumi looking to get close to each other. Rustin Caraccio currently in 4th place, looking to cement his place as the Qualifiers champion for the 2024 Hololive GT3 Japan Series Qualifiers. Meanwhile, we have Tyler Williams trying to challenge Fabio Mendes there. His strength as the Yamani Kanata driver has been pretty much never in doubt, as you can see here. And now Shazin Reza is going to try to mount a challenge against Tyler Williams here. And you can see Arnaki Nakamura is on board here. Here's Shazin Reza with the comeback, with the fight back against Tyler Williams here. Shazin Reza already has the better performance here at 100R compared to Team Nissan here. And now you can see Ari Nakamura might think of an opportunity against Tyler Williams. But Tyler Williams has to back off. Shazin Reza now up into 11th place. His run into the top 10 is not going to be over just yet. Also, we wanted to highlight the fact that Ari Nakamura is down in 13th place. So as we've mentioned here, Rustin Caraccio is in a very, very comfortable position to win the Suyo's Qualifiers standings. Shakireza, of course, now slower than Yu Chaeyeon that last lap, so that will mean something. But also Jeff Clark absolutely off the pace in that number 18 Nakiri Ayame car. Right now, the scene here in Fuji Speedway has absolutely calmed down, as we're gonna go a bit of an onboard here on Yu Chaeyeon in her number 61 car, the Takane Louis Nissan. And now you can see here Shazin Reza now going side by side against his fellow Honda teammate Fabio Mendes here. Shazin Reza is going to try to get himself into the top 10. Fabio Mendes is, of course, not in the Suyo just yet. He's actually way off from the Suyo. And right now Shazin Reza is going to try to hang around the outside of Fabio Mendes here. Shazin Reza's fight is not over yet, as Shazin Reza now gets himself into 10th place. His next target is Daniel Barger up front. Reza has a mountain to climb if he wants to try to get his first Hololive GT3 win of 2024. But of course, he might think about Antanarao, but this is racing, and of course this is his last race in Fuji in Hololive GT3 before he retires as the Himawari Luna driver. Obviously, it's not confirmed on whether or not he will be racing for Koseki Biju in Formula Hololive International after the Hololive GT3 season, but we'll have to wait and see first, because right now he already has a driver lined up for him. Meanwhile, we have Yu Cheon currently trying to clear the lap car of Jeff Clark, but Jeff Clark might cause her trouble. And you can see here, Jeff Clark isn't causing too much trouble here, but the gap's now dropped down to 0.8 of a second between Mohammed Shakib Reza and Yu Cheon. Shakib Reza knows he's got to clear the lap car as soon as possible, but right now, as you can see here, Jeff Clark is not cooperating. Here's Shakib Reza trying to find a way past the lap car, Jeff Clark, who's just so off the pace these days. It's just not funny at this point. At this point, there's not much hope for Jeff Clark to actually qualify for the Suyo at this rate. Looking into the rest of the field here, we're looking at Nakamura trying to catch up to Fabio Mendes, who's actually fallen out just a bit. Sheldon Reza, of course, needs to get past Daniel Barger, but they're matching each other, Sheldon Reza and Barger. Meanwhile, we're looking at Shakib Reza, who's actually lost a good amount of time against Jeff Clark, but he requires the slipstream and the power of the Nissan in order for him to steer clear of Jeff Clark coming into the main straight here. But we can see here, that's a very staunch effort there from Jeff Clark to still stay ahead of Shakib Reza and to give some breathing room for Yu Cheon. Well, of course, Yu Cheon has to quit sooner or later, and Shakib Reza, of course, is on the same strategy. There's going to be some kind of headache between the drivers battling up front, the two Nissans. As you can see here, Shakib Reza is still being held back by, that looks like Jeff Clark still. Shakib Reza now looking into the battle here with Fabi Mendes and Irene Nakamura here. Nakamura tries to get a good exit off of turn 1 while still maintaining the inside line. Fabi Mendes tries to get a good run off of the outside, but Fabi Mendes being cut out by Irene Nakamura, who is one step closer into the top 10. Talking about her season, she has been pretty much amazing. This is only her 7th Hololive GT3 start. She is basically fighting against veterans, and she's basically shown out to be the best Honda team currently in the qualifiers. Of course, Hajima has returned to idle performances, but she is still set to miss the 5th fest unless there's some massive surprises happening. Nakamura, of course, representing Akai Hato, who has seen some revival in performances. Oh, there's a bit of a coming together. I think that was between Mendes and Williams, but I don't think there was contact between the two. They say carry on between. Anyways, Nakamura in the battle for the best Honda status in Hololive GT3. So far, she is doing very well to stake her claim into the title. Obviously, she is currently 2nd in the Hololive GT3 standings after consistent top 10s. Meanwhile, looking at the front, Antara is now trying to challenge Rustin Caraccio, with pit stops starting to take shape later in this race. Looking into Liu Cheon, Mohammed Shakib Reza, who will pit in less than 3 laps, it seems. And then we also have Hofumi Lorenzo Ricci, who is also going to pit quite early on. It will be the first drivers to pit in this pit stop window. Meanwhile, we have Liu still leading against Hartoyo and Damashnev. Here's Michael Turner down the inside of Richie Rod here, using the slipstream to at least get himself close to Richie Rod here. Now you can see here Turner tries to defend his position in 20th, and he will be able to do so. You know, there's a side-by-side battle between Goodwin and Ed Sky. now the battle continues on as usual for some of the drivers further back. As Sky gets very close to Jake Goodwin, well, will he think of a move down the inside? The answer is going to be no. Shaka Rizzo only slightly faster than Yu Chaeyeon on that last lap. That has already cleared Jeff Clark. Obviously, with him being stuck behind Jeff Clark for quite some time, he will basically lose a lot of time to Chaeyeon. But meanwhile, looking into the rest of the field, there's still... The top 10 have literally opened up the gap between each other, but in the midfield, it's still pretty much a bit lawless. Meanwhile, Shazin Reza is going to try to at least get himself close to Daniel Barger, at least on the straights, and try to find a way to get past him in the corners. And as you can see here, Shazin Reza is already 3/10 faster than Daniel Barger. No more side-by-side battles coming into light. Here's Goodwin and Fabio Mendes side-by-side coming into turn 1. Oh, getting close between the two, but at least there's still some respectable driving. Oh, you can see here Goodwin trying to hang it around the outside to defend against Fabio Mendes here, and that will be amazing. Meanwhile, Edsky's going to try to find a way past his Hololive teammate. Edsky trying to make use of as much grip on that Nissan car as much as possible, but right now it's not going to be the case. Edsky is going to hang around in 15th place for now. Looking into the driver calls here, Yu Chaeyeon and Momoshaki Reza will pit at the same time. So right now there might be a call for them to pit, but right now neither of these drivers will come into the pit stops here. Hofumi is about to clear the lap car of Jeff Clark. That will be what Hofumi is about to do. 22 laps, of course. We're on lap 22 here. 21 laps already complete here in Fuji Speedway. As you can see here, Fumi, it's going to be very imperative for him to clear Jeff Clark as early as possible here. And Tanneral is going to try to find a way past Rustin Caraccio. And now we have Shazin Reza still trying to catch Daniel Barger here for 10th place. But right now, nothing is coming out of it. We might not be seeing some side-by-side battles here. Maybe somewhere further back here, as we might be seeing some drivers coming into the pits. The first driver for pit activity is actually going to be Lorenzo Ricci in car number 6, Porsche Marine. Same goes for Reilly, who has already peeled into the pit stop at this point in the race. While we're looking at Reilly, who has already made his exit, he has already been overtaken by that looks like Mohamed Cashew in 30th place, and then we also have Jeff Clark and Johan Sinful coming across the line. They're having pretty uneventful races. They're having some bit of uneventful races at the moment. Meanwhile, you can see here Reilly isn't able to beat Johan Sinful, who has had that crash earlier on. And now looking into the potential issue with lap cars here, that's not going to be the case, because now we get to see the leaders coming into the pit. Hofumi is not going to pit for now. And as you can see here in the race mod, Crystal Salmon is also going to be called into the pit lane right now. And that's not going to be the case for now. He will pit the next lap. So Fumi will be leading here in Fuji Speedway. Fumi being able to, I believe, somewhat challenge for the race win back in the 2022 postseason. He's done pretty okay for Takino Sora up to this point. Meanwhile, the status quo looks to have some kind of changes here with the new leader, Hofumi. Of course, he has yet to pit. Of course, we have Tanara and Cashew also trying to catch each other up to the leaders. Here's Crystal Salmon already coming into 300R to place himself at the Dunlop chicane, and right now he is doing very well here, nearing into the top 5. Meanwhile, we have Etsky and Yu Cheon here. Yu Cheon actually has exited the pits, and as you can see here, Cheon has put in enough fuel for her to continue up until the end of this race. Same goes for Mohamed Shakib Reza, and looking at the way they pit, crucially, Cheon has exited in front of traffic, which will cause Shakib Reza a lot of trouble. And you can see here, that's the gap between Cheon and Shakib Reza. Shakib Reza has his work cut out. Salman is being called into the pit lane right now. He is going to peel into the right lane, and as you can see here, Salman is going to get himself and his car service. The Yaski number 12 Honda coming into the pit stop as we speak. As you can see here, Ira Nakamura now going side by side with Mohamed Shazwan Reza here. Shazwan Reza is not going to take it lying down here. Shazwan Reza is going to give it a bit of a challenge. Round the outside at turn 1 is a bit of an on board on Tyler Williams here. And now you can see here, Shazwan Reza is about to be mucked off very horribly there. And as you can see here by the radar on the bottom right, both Tyler Williams and Ira Nakamura bomb Shazwan off from the racing line, and for them to take one position each. Now what Shazwan Reza is looking for, by the very least, he's inside the top 10. You know, just looking into the current top 3 affairs right now, it's going to be Antara over Kurashio over Fumi inside the top 3. Antara, of course, is 3rd, Kurashio 2nd, Fumi inside the race lead for now. Rim Olgor is going to be next to call into the pit after having a very stellar first stint, where he basically jumped up 10 positions, but now he's going to have to come to the pits to serve yet another pit stop. Hopefully, it's going to be a quick serve for the Lexus team for Rim Olgor. Ira Nakamura currently trying to get close to Daniel Barger for 6th place. Ira Nakamura currently 2nd amongst the Team Honda drivers. Salman, from what we're seeing, also had a long time in the pit lane too. So, and then we have Etsky and Bobby Bennett, I believe. Nah, they are not in a battle. Apologies here. You know, we have Yu Cheon also in 13th place over Shakib Reza's 17th. So Cheon is in a very favorable position to retain her spot in the lead after pit stops. Once we get into lap 27 to lap 28, that will mean that we are officially going to be in the halfway stage of the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji. And of course, this racing event, it coincides with the Fifth Fest concert. The Capture the Moment Fifth Fest Hololive concert will be hosted next week. And as you can see here, we are proud to basically hype the Fifth Fest through the stream and all that stuff to showcase what the fans can do for the talent. And you can see here, if you want to have access to the ticket, there is the QR code in the bottom right. So hopefully you are able to basically scan the QR code and have yourself tickets to the Fifth Fest. At the very least, streaming, because obviously there's really not much you could do in Japan if you don't have the invitation. We have Hofumi coming into the pits. Already very stationary there. He was in a battle for the race leads here. So let's take a look into Yu Cheon. Yu Cheon is already at the main straight. Shakib Reza is already in the main straight. Fumi has yet to come out of the pits so far, and that will leave him in an extremely vulnerable position. And as you can see here, that's Fumi already out. And crucially, will he be able to exit ahead of Shakib Reza? Just about not able to. And as you can see here, Fumi has to still settle for third, so the status quo inside the top 3 after pit stops will remain unchanged. Just looking at Hofumi right now. Just trying to get his tires warmed up here. No repairs needed for that number 1 Nissan. Obviously, he has been sustaining a good amount of damage there from somewhere. Wow, we have Sean Paul and Isakai Jimiko going side by side between each other. Another mid-corner battle here between the two. Now, Sean Paul has battled multiple drivers who represent the Sakura Miko. He has been the Inugami coordinate driver since 2022. Meanwhile, we have more drivers coming to the pits coming soon, and that will be the case for Alex Grant. Meanwhile, let's take a look into the situation at the back. Shadrin Reza has, of course, already pitted as well. He is still behind Crystal Salman, who has also already pitted. Of course, Shadrin Reza needs a very, very good amount of lap time on his second stint to at least beat the drivers who are trying to do the overcut. Meanwhile, we have Yu Chae-yeon making easy pickings on Fabio Mendes, I believe, who... Oh, rather, sorry, that's not the case. I think Alex Grant has now come into the pits. We want more drivers trying to go side by side here, especially for Jeff Rohan against Richie Rod. Richie Rod currently leading. Richie Rod, of course, he's currently in 17th place, so he's not actually leading this race per se. But anyways, Jeff Rohan again puts his defensive acumen to good use as he now puts himself into 17th place. Of course, he has yet to pit, so Yu Chae-yeon currently controlling this race with relative ease here. Shakir Reza just needs to find a way past Vlasta Damashev and Alif Hartoyo for Shakir Reza to challenge Yu Chae-yeon. Of course, looking at Jeff Clark, who has to pit, talk about a miserable race for him so far. So, but again, it's racing. Sometimes it happens. So for Jeff Clark, he has to pit or for a scheduled stop. He has already gone down a lap. So that's absolutely going to sting for him. We might be seeing some battles between Ed Sky and Jake Goodwin for what should be 9th place. Both cars stretching their legs and their engines to the maximum limits here. Ed Sky might think of a side-by-side battle with Fabio Mendes as well. He's gonna go for the late lunge against Fabio Mendes. Fabio Mendes has to give some space. Jake Goodwin might think of exploiting the space. And as you can see here, Ed Sky actually manages to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and clears Fabio Mendes as well as Jake Goodwin. Meanwhile, Yu Chae-yeon is looking on the battle between Jake Goodwin and Fabio Mendes. Hartoyo and Damasha already clear the Coca-Cola corner. Shakir Reza's not far behind. You see here Fabio Mendes and Jake Goodwin really stretching their legs here. And now you can see here, Yu Chae-yeon is going to try to clear the the Jake Goodwin Okamimio number 30 car. But for now, Chae-yeon has her work cut out so far. She is still going to be held up. That might leave Shakir Reza with a bit of breathing room to try to get close to Yu Chae-yeon. Again, the current lead so far with Hofumi already pitting. Rustin Caraccio leads, Alto Santana second. Danilo Goyena currently in 3rd place. So Byung-gun and Daniel Barger make up 4th and 5th. Shakir Reza, of course, has already made his way into the pit so far. Here's Shakir Reza here, as you can see here. In the previous lap, Shakir Reza is only good enough for a 140.8. But then again, looking at Solomon, who's only at a 141.4 and Cashew 142.2, Shakir is actually setting up a pretty good amount of pace here for at least for him to challenge inside the top 10. 28 laps complete here in Fuji Speedway for the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji Speedway. We have Rustin Crossio still leading this race for Lapless Darkness. Alta Santara leading Nekomata Kayu by about Alta Santara behind Rustin Crossio. Santara, of course, representing Nekomata Kayu by around 1.2 seconds. Of course, these two drivers have also yet to pit, so there's still a lot of things to play for here in Fuji Speedway. And the race field monitor so far, the next driver to come into the pit lanes will be Rustin Caraccio, actually, as Alta Santara will be coming in to lead this race for the first time in Hololive GT3 so far. We have not seen Antara in the lead of any Hololive GT3 race for quite a long time, and to see him back in front, albeit for a temporary amount of time, is going to be amazing. Alta Santara, of course, needs to be wary about the situation between himself and Daniel Goyena here, but right now he's able to defend as well as he does. Of course, Rustin Caraccio coming into pit. Rustin Caraccio is already cleared by the lead driver after the pit stop. That would be Yu Cheon. Here's Hartoyo and Goodwin going side by side between each other, and now you can see here Jake Goodwin on the outside, Hartoyo on the inside, and you can see Shakireza also having to defend against Hofumi, but he has a very shocking move around the outside to basically concede the position against Hofumi. Now Hofumi is currently in that provisional second place. Shakireza's race is coming in slightly undone. Antara Sargard is clear. He needs to at least match Yu Cheon's lap time because he knows he's going to spend less time in the pit stops due to him pitting very much later than usual in the race. Looking into the drivers who have yet to pit, we have Alif Hartoyo, Kizuhara Leo, Irene Nakamura, alongside Daniel Bargi, Sakai Mikola, Callum Gibbons. Looking also Fabio Mendez, Ri Leo, and Etsky who have yet to pit. Same goes for DCM and Riba. This is still pretty much not over just yet. "30 laps complete." Meanwhile, we have Tyler Williams trying to find a way past Irene Nakamura. Will Tyler Williams think of a move down the inside? He is close, but he might think of a move down the inside. Tries to force Nakamura to move around the outside. But Tyler Williams not having the tactics work for him. The static tactics is not working for Tyler Williams right now. Here's Tyler Williams trying to catch Nakamura, but right now we also have Shakireza trying to defend against Jake Goodwin. He is not going to be interested in losing more positions than he should be. He is going to be en route for his first podium finish in Hololive GT3 since Suzuka Suzuka East Split B Race 2. And right now Shakireza is going to try his absolute best to finish on the podium for Momo Suzunene and to have bragging rights over his brother. Also looking at the Lexus drivers who have yet to pit, looking at Johan Sinfo, who has already made his own pit stop. There is also Byongin and Antanarao, that mostly because of the timing tower reshuffle, so excuse us. So there's the lap car, so if Alta Santara needs to pit, he needs to pit soon. But looking into the pit stop window here, he might pit in the next 3 to 4 laps anyway, so that might be to his advantage if he wants to at least get closer to the top 3. The top three of course consisting of Yu Cheon, Hofumi, and Antanarao. Sorry, Yu Cheon, Hofumi, and Shakireza. Antanarao absolutely enjoying this moment while he still can. Of course, leading this Hololive GT3 race for Nekomata Akayu. He of course had this 4th place finish in the Sepang Grand Prix in the Formula Hololive race at Sepang. And as we've predicted, Maverick DCM comes into the pits. We're going to be expecting General Goyena and Alto Santana to come into the pits sooner or later as well. But of course, Antara really needs a good exit amongst the Team Nissan drivers for him to get himself closer to challenging the top 3. But as you can see here, Lorenzo Ricci has slipstream against Rim Olgor. Alto Santana has a double slipstream. And let's see if it works to good effect for him. And as you can see, he's getting very, very close here. You can see how fast he's already closing in already at that main straight. And now he's going to think about moving him down the inside of Lorenzo Ricci. And makes the move. Antanarao to clear Lorenzo Ricci, who is set to be a lap down. So Byung-eun is only 0.6 of a second behind. We have also Daniel Goyena, who's already pitted. And as you can see here, Antanarao tries to clear Lorenzo Ricci, by which he should be able to do. Right now, he should be thinking of defending it so far. And right now, that is what he's able to do. Currently still Cheon, Fumi, and Shakib Reza, and of course Cheon, Fumi, and Shakib Reza have nothing separating between them, as the lap cars have also chosen to pit. There's Ali Fatoyo and Tyler Williams as well. Shirada has also made the decision to pit, and now he's not even inside the top 24. Meanwhile, Shakib Reza is still continuing his comeback run. He only has Crystal Salman up front, and you can see here Callum Gibbons against Kaminari Riba side by side. Both of these drivers have also yet to pit. Meanwhile, there's a lot of space between Salman and Shavin Reza here, and as you can see here, the battle's not over between the two so far. Oh, side by side between Gibbons and Riba. Riba tries to hang around the outside of Callum Gibbons. Nearly making a move stick, but makes him dive on down the inside of the hairpin to cause some trouble for not just Callum Gibbons, but also Crystal Salman, as Shadri Reza is slowly able to catch. Here's some side-by-side battle between Riba and Gibbons once again. And this time, it's Riba who takes the W so far. So Byung-eun currently in 2nd place behind Alto Santana, and Tanarao of course behind Maverick DCM as it stands. But for Tanarao, he doesn't need to mind too much because he will pit anyway in the next few laps, so that is basically the one thing that he doesn't need to worry about. Here's Michael Turner and some other drivers shuffling inside the positions just because of other things. Here's some side-by-side battles between Antanarao and DCM, as Antanarao tries to clear DCM for him to have clearer air for his laps. And now you can see here that's also going to be the case for So Byung-eun clearing the lap car of DCM. The collab comes into pit, and as you can see here, Gibbons have been cleared by Crystal Salman, who is in a different strategy. Gibbons has not been up to his best so far, and now you can see here So Byung-eun trying to come down the inside of DCM, and that is going to be good for Antanarao because Antanarao now has some clear space against what should be Rim Olgor. Here's Antanarao still leading this race. In the number 5 Nekomata Okayu Nissan in the Capture the Moment 500 race here in Fuji Speedway. Just wanted to check if the internet connection is pretty good or bad, but right now the internet connection is pretty good so far. Meanwhile, we have another shuffling that's pretty normal at this point. Meanwhile, Alto Santana is finally being called into the pits. Looking at the gaps between the leader and Yu Cheon. The pit stop window should be at around 40 seconds, a bit lower if you are going to pit later than usual. Right now we are about to get into 20 laps to go here before the end of this qualifying season. And you can see here Cheon gets very close there to, Antara gets very close there to Rim Olgor. Right now both of them are able to keep their wits about it. We're gonna go on board just a bit to see where Antara might just be able to attack here. Antara's gonna go barging in to Rim Olgor. He's gonna go gung-ho. Rounding on the outside goes Antara. Tries to have a very good exit off of the final corner, but gets cut off by Rim Olgor. He had to lift there, but that will not matter regardless, as he will come into the bits. Let's take a look at Yu Cheon, who is already at turn 13 and coming into Net's corner. Nice to see some viewers tuning into the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji stream. Welcome if you're watching. We are absolutely relishing this amazing racing here in Fuji Speedway. Right now we have Alex Santana, who had been leading this race for Nekomata Okayu. He's about to concede the lead to Yu Cheon, and right now he's still pretty stationary, and he is expected to be out of the pits by around 10 seconds. Here is Antara, still very much stationary. Here's Hofumi also clearing him. Here's Sakireza also clearing him. Antara should be good enough for 4, but as it stands, he will not be able to make it into the Suyo Series. And now we have Jake Goodwin, who is about to clear Altazar and Tanarao. And same go for Rustin Caraccio, Danilo Goyena, Michael Turner, and Jeff Rohan. And there's a bit of contact between the Okakuro cars. That's a bit of a nudge by Sean Pauly. Not exactly what the two had been hoping for. A bit of an argy-bargy between the two Okakuro cars, and Antara's absolutely not happy about it. Meanwhile, lap 36 of 55, 20 laps to go here in the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji. So Byung-in currently leads this race temporarily alongside Daniel Barger, Ari Nakamura, Ed Sky, and Fabio Mendes. These 5 drivers have yet to pit. Meanwhile, we're looking at Antara, who has basically lost out big time when he made his pit stop. Lost a lot of time when he made his refueling and tire change, and also at the same time, there's also a bit of an issue with him exiting, which caused him to exit ahead of traffic, so he has to be very cautious. Meanwhile, Kaczynski clears the lap car of Jeff Clark, having an absolutely poor race so far. Then again, Ayame hasn't been committed to the original uniforms as of late, so that has got to be very unfortunate for all the Nakirigumi, as the Ayame team are going to be condemned to only compete in the Zako. No new side-by-side battles here right now. We are already at 36 laps of racing so far here in Fuji Speedway. Here is Crystal Soundman and maybe coming at Riba going side by side, but I don't think that's the case. You have more and more drivers who are going to basically commit their way into their pit stops here. And speaking of Rim Olgor here, Rim Olgor hasn't been pretty much available as of late here. If you want to know where Rim Olgor is right now, he's currently mired back in 28th place. Currently embroiled in a battle between himself and So Byung-in. Looking into more drivers who might come to the pits. That will be Sean Pauly and Jeff Rohan. So pay attention to these drivers, as they're gonna be set to be called into the pit lane. As you can see here, Olgor trying to edge ahead of So Byung-in, and right now he's doing just as well. And then we have the lead, which basically still continues as it stands. Not much of a change here between the leader and Barger, who have a 24-second gap between them. 90 laps to go before we conclude the qualifier season, and right now, looking at the drivers who will be set to be in the Tsuyu, Ari Nakamura and Rustin Carrascio, they will have a guaranteed spot in the Tsuyu. Meanwhile, Roger Kaczynski might be a bit nervy. Coastal Salman, Mohammad Shahid Reza will also look to have a good spot in the Tsuyu as it stands. Meanwhile, Shahid Reza is looking to find a way past Salman, Gibbons, and Riba. Of course, Calvin Gibbons is not going to pit until this lap, and Kaminai Riba has not going to pit until the next lap. So Shahid Reza needs to basically get on the gas right now, and if he wants to challenge Crystal Salman for basically pride at this point. So Byung-eun has confirmed that he is currently serving his time in the pit lane, so he will be exiting at around 13th to 14th, 15th maybe. Right now there's a pretty good mix of manufacturers at the front, but that's mostly because the Lexus drivers at the front, they have yet to pit. Looking at Michael Turner, who is also going to be pitting in the next 4 laps, that's also going to be the case for him as well. Daniel Barger now leads the Capture the Moment 500 for Hoshimachi Suisei. Of course, he has to pit as well. Looking at the remaining drivers who have yet to make a pit stop, that will be Jake Goodwin, Michael Turner, Kaczynski, Riba, Gibbons, Barger, Nakamura, Sky, and Fabio Mendes currently inside the top 4 positions, the latter 4 drivers. Gibbons finally coming into the pits here, and that will leave not much of a space between himself and Salman, but you can see here the gaps, I think, have closed down considerably between the two. Now the gaps now at 2.5 to 2.6 seconds between these two drivers, so Shahid Reza might just be able to challenge Salman for what should be the top 10 battle. Meanwhile, Kaczynski and Byung-eun go out between each other here. So Byung-eun, as we mentioned, he has exited in 14th place, but right now he is under pressure. He is struggling against the Kaczynski, who has yet to pit in this race. See here, Byung-eun trying to find a way past Kaczynski, but right now nothing comes of it so far. Daniel Barger currently still leading this race, actually edging ahead of Ari Nakamura by about a few tenths of a second there. So Barger still has this race somewhat under control. Here's Yu Chaeyeon already hounding the rear of the top 4 cars who have yet to pit. So we have Ho Fu-mi and Shakib Reza also behind Yu Chaeyeon at a moment's notice as well. So this battle is actually very much alive as the battle for top 3 is still heating up. So Chaeyeon still trying to find a way past Fabio Mendes. But then again, looking at Fabio Mendes, he is going to pit in the next 2 laps. Coming in our river will pit this lap. As for the rest of the drivers here, we're looking at Daniel Barger, who will be pitting in the next 2 laps. Nakamura will pit in the next lap. Ed Sky will also pit in the next 2 laps. So right now for the top 3, anything goes and everything goes at this rate. Ho Fu-mi is going to go for his first Hololive GT3 win since the Okayama finale of 2022, and Shakib Reza is going to go for his first Hololive GT3 win since March 2022 and the first for Momo Suzunene. We're going to have a bit of confirmation of who will come into the pits within these 4 drivers here. Daniel Barger peels in, Nakamura peels in, Ed Sky and Fabio Mendes will hang on for 1 more lap. It's going to be something because right now all the two drivers in front of Yu Cheon are all Hololive's teammates. So right now they're gonna be thinking maybe we should give a bit of help to their teammate who probably is on course to win her first Hololive GT3 win of the season and in her entire aero career. Her first win in her entire aero career, her first win in Hololive GT3, and Takane Luis's first win in Hololive GT3. 15 laps to go here in Fuji Speedway. The race is far from over as far as the battle for the actual race leaders go. Fumi is gonna try to find any opportunity possible to try to get close to Yu Cheon. And of course, these Nissans have a lot to fight for. Fumi's gonna go for his first win since 2022. Cheon and Shakib Reza are gonna go for their first win for their Oshis. Yu Cheon is gonna go for her first win in the ARO outright. Tons of racing action still to come. And right now, nothing still separates between these drivers here. And of course, we have confirmation here. Michael Turner, Fabi Mendes, and Ed Sky will come into their pit stops. Same goes for Jake Goodwin in the next 3 laps. And these will be the last drivers who will commit to the pit stops. The next lap car currently up on the road is actually Mohamed Cashew in that number 3 Tsunamaki Watami Lexus. So we now have the leaders rotate back into where they have been, and right now it's going to be a 3-horse race for the race lead. Yu Cheon leads Hofumi by around 7/10 of a second. The Takane Lui car, the Takane Lui Nissan leads the Filipino Shore Nissan by about 7/10 of a second. And Shakib Reza from Momo Suzunene trails by about 5/10 of a second. Yu Cheon still kind of has this race under control. Cheon needs to make sure that she gains the time in the most appropriate places possible, because if she gets held up after the main straight, it's going to cause her a lot of trouble, and she's going to be held up by the Lexus who have better grip in the corners than the Nissan who are absolutely better on the straights. Here's Yu Cheon, and here is Mama Cashew languishing in 33rd place, 13 seconds already behind 32nd. And that 32nd place driver is of course Johan Sinful. Here's Cashew in 33rd. Here's Jeff Clark way down there, already a lap down still. Cashew is going to be under pressure to go a lap down, and you can see here Margaret has also already exited the pits. He's now down in 14th place. Shadrin Reza now has to deal with Tyler Williams once again, while he is already getting close to Crystal Salaman. Battle for the race lead is still pretty much tight here. Here's Yu Cheon getting very close there to what should be a potentially lap car of Mohamed Cashew. For Tsunamaki Watami, they have not been having a very good season up to this point. Watami, of course, have also not been paying attention much to the original uniforms, instead paying attention to the bright uniforms, and that, of course, hurts their performances in Hololive GT3. But Cheon and Shakib Reza, both members being quite committed still to the original uniforms, are still currently contesting their places inside the race lead. Shakib Reza at this point will be in a serious position to be inside the Suyo, but it's going to be a big if, because he will only gain 350. Obviously every position matters, so Shakib Reza might need to go for second place. And now you can see here Cheon is being held up by Mohamed Cashew, and Hofumi is ready to attack. Now Cheon looking to find a way past Mohamed Cashew, and now Hofumi is right on the tail of Yu Cheon and right on the tail of the number 61 Takane Loi Nissan. All Fumi needs is a very good exit off of the final corner, the Panasonic corner, and right now It's all of these three Nissans added for basically the win here in the Capture the Moment 500 Fuji. Cheon gets close to Mohamed Cashew. Will Cheon make the dive bomb down the inside? Will Mohamed Cashew cause trouble to Mohamed Cashew? The answer is going to be somewhat of a yes here. There's going to be a bit of a slide between the two. Here's going to be Hofumi and Shakureza is on board. And as you can see here, will Mohamed Cashew push Yu Cheon wide? The answer is going to be yes. And now Shakureza is going to sniff an opportunity to go down the inside of Hofumi. Shakureza now goes to try to clear Hofumi using Mohamed Cashew as a pick, and again he still manages to use Mohamed Cashew as a pick. Shakureza has a very good exit off of the hairband, now coming into 300R. Both this are still going side by side, and now Shakureza is gonna try to clear Mohamed Cashew. Inside goes Mohamed Shakureza, he doesn't go there, and Hofumi is gonna sniff the opportunity to pull one back against Shakureza. And this time it's a reversal of fortunes here. This time it's going to be Hofumi who will be using Mohamed Cashew as a pick to get second place back. And now there's Antanaro once again makes contact with another driver. He tries to get himself back out onto the track here, but again another crash where Antanaro was in the top 5, and once again Antanaro, bad luck deals a very, very dirty hand to Antanaro once again. He will get himself back up into what should be 17th place. He's still able to continue as it stands, but that is absolutely cruel. But meanwhile, we have this battle between Shakureza and Hofumi. And this time it's going to be Hofumi still ahead of Mohamed Shakureza, but Shakureza still has to fend off Mohamed Cashew there. That's going to cause him to lose some kind of amounts of time. But this time the Nissans are going to still stay ahead. And as you can see here, Alton Tarao has been reshuffled down to 32nd place. And as it stands, he will be set to score no points again. How unlucky can Althusser and Tanarao be? In 4 qualifiers races, he is involved in 4 accidents. And then, of course, Antarao has to absolutely rue this moment. He is undoubtedly the unluckiest driver in Hololive GT3 up to this point. Meanwhile, we have some battles right here and there, maybe brewing in the mid-pack without Althusser and Tanarao. He's going to be set to finish the qualifiers with 0 points. In any of the Hololive GT3 standings, not a single driver have ended the season with 0 points, excluding the Japan Series postseason of 2022. And right now, as it stands, Antarao is going to be the first case on which a driver in Hololive GT3 fails to score a single point in any of the individual standings since the end of 2022 at this rate. And of course, Antarao is not going to be fond of this record. Well, looking at this battle for 4th here, Sobyong is trying to catch Danilo Goyena down the inside maybe, but right now nothing comes of it for now. Antarao meanwhile is gonna try to get something out of this race, at least if he can at least score 30th. He will not have to be subject to the label as the only driver in qualifiers to not score any points. Absolutely gut-wrenching for Antanaro as he has to deal with yet another accident. 4 crashes in 4 races. He has got, as we mentioned, he's now of course the unluckiest driver in Hololive GT3. In Formula Hololive, that was not the case. I mean, finished 4th in the Sepang Grand Prix last February and is poised to perform in next week's Capture the Moment Grand Prix at Fuji. But in this Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji, what can we say more about Antanara other than just being absolutely unlucky? Meanwhile, we have Antanara trying to at least get close to Sinful and Leo. Obviously, he is slowly catching up to Leo from what we're seeing here. Looking at the timetable, he is sitting at 141.1, where the others are sitting only 141 and 142s, and that is specifically the case for Reba and Leo. So the odds for Antanara to get himself back into the points is still very much likely, but what can we say about it any further than just unlucky Antanara? Drivers crossing the line, and of course we're going to ignore some of these because there might not be any immediate battles. Also, Damasha continues to perform as the best Team Lexus car currently available. And as you can see, Cheon against Fumi and Shakareza, she has now pulled up a 5-second gap over these two. Shakareza is going to at least try to get himself into second because I believe he only has 30 points to his credit. And based on what we're seeing here, for Shakareza to qualify in the Suyo, sorry, no, he has 115 points, and right now, as it stands, he will be comfortable inside the Suyo because looking into Maverick 2CM, who is currently not having the best race so far, he's currently outside the top 20, and also we have Callum Gibbons, Vladislav Domashnev, also not inside the top 20 except Vladislav Domashnev. Anyways, looking into the odds so far for each of these drivers here, Sakureza is going to be in a poise to get himself back into the Suyo series. Well, for the first time all season, Antanara is going to be set to be the only driver in the qualifiers to not score a single point. So Antanara, it's got to be a tough time for him, especially in a lot of cases in the air. Obviously, he has to endure the fact that his previous Oshi Urharusha was terminated due to contract violations. That he is essentially a fan dead and a half for Urharusha. I mean, throughout his time in Hololive, he has always been looking up to Urharusha up until she was terminated. And so, trying to find a place for home, he finds himself in the Nekomata Kaya number 5. Obviously, it is not the best ride, but it is something for him to at least represent a Hololive member in ARL competition. Well, he does have some highlights, like the Altopolis Super Breeze Split B race, where he finished an all-time high second. That was only in Formula Hololive. In Hololive GT3, on the other hand, he did have some decent finishes for him to salvage a top 10 finish in the 2023 overall standings. And right now, coming into 7 laps to go here before the end of the qualifier stage. It's going to be Yu Cheon, who is currently inside the lead of this race, 6 seconds of a gap for her. Let's just hope that she's able to maintain her gap as she does right now. And right now she's going to be behind Alcantara, and of course there's going to be potentially lap cars. And of course here's Shazrin Reza now actually beating Tyler Williams to the line. He's now up into 8th place, so it's a great comeback for him. And you can see here the progress charts here. The biggest gainers from the start is Isekaichi Mikolev here. He's going to try his best to get his Sakuramiko Honda back into the Suyo. But with him being in 20th place and with other drivers in the cutoff line performing even better at crunch time, it might just be not enough for Mikolev. Meanwhile, we're looking into some of the other drivers here. Mikolev has already gained a position here. Has already passed Richie Watt for 19th place. So the hope for him to be inside the studio may not be lost after all. Meanwhile, the other big gainer looks to be Tyler Williams, who started 14th, is now up into 9th place. Jeff Rohan started 24th. He will look to have his status as a Suyo driver to be somewhat secure with his 17th place finish. But of course, there's going to be a massive point swing come the end of this race. We're going to need to check what's happening here because there might be some changes in the order, right? Maybe, but nothing comes of it so far. Now you can see here Rustin Crosio has been held up by the lap car of Mohamed Kashia, and that might open the door for Danilo Goyena to steal something away from Rustin Crosio. So Byung-eun is also going to be able to convert this great finish to put the Shiranui Flair car in comfortable position inside the Suyo series. Despite Flair also committing very much to the white uniform, she has been seen pretty much frequently in the originals as well, so it's not lost on So Byung-eun to still perform pretty well. And now you can see here he's going to try to challenge his fellow Gen 3 teammate around the outside. He attempts to make a move down the inside with a very good launch there. He's going to probably nudge Danilo Goyena and to probably force some space in. Right now, nothing is out of it so far. Now you can see Yu Cheon already building a gap of 7 seconds over Hofu Mi and Shaki Freza here. Look at the gap between the two. As you can see here, Salman is going to go for his third consecutive top 10 finish. Shadon Reza will finish inside the top 10 for the first time since Autopolis. And of course, we are looking to see some battles here for second at the very least. But as you can see here, nothing is on so far. 5 laps to go before the end of this qualifiers, before the end of the capture the moment at 500 at Fuji. And right now, we also have Kurashio and Goyena going side by side. And you can see here Goyena using the slipstream and cheeky braking to get himself ahead of Kurashio. And now Goyena hangs it around the outside. At Coca-Cola corner, shuffles Kurashio down to 5th. So Byung-eun is going to try to sniff an opportunity against Rustin Kurashio. Gets very close there, but will it be close enough? The answer is no so far. We only have Alex Grant and Vladislav Domashna. He may be thinking of a move. You can see here, here's Isakaji Mikolev continuing his comeback. As you can see, he's trying to get close to Ri Liu here. Meanwhile, we also have Raja Kaczynski trying to get close to Jake Goodwin. On the inside goes Kaczynski against Goodwin. Kaczynski for Yuzuki Choko against Jake Goodwin for Okami Mio. And as you can see here, Kaczynski's going to try to hang around the outside. Jake Goodwin still has one of the freshest tires available on show. Meanwhile, you can see here the fresh tires in good effect for Jake Goodwin. He's able to defend. Mohamed Shakib Reza against Hofumi, 4 laps to go. As it stands, Shakib Reza will look to have a comfortable spot inside the studio. Well, comfortable to his extent because it's still going to be pretty nervy. And as you can see here now, Danilo Goyena tries to clear the lap car of Mohamed Kashia. Now this time So Byung-eun against Rustim Kurashio. Down the inside goes So Byung-eun. Kurashio tries to hang around the outside. Kurashio is going to go for as early of an acceleration as possible here. Will Kurashio hang around the inside and defend it there against Byung-eun? Now So tries to hang it around the inside this time. Kurashio not giving up anything so far. He has his pride as a plus mate, and right now he is gonna try to still defend it for all he can. Real great side-by-side racing between the two, and as you can see here, So Byung-eun against Rustin Kurashio. Still side by side. They have been side by side since turn 1. They've been side by side for half the lap already, and they're still at it between the two. Byung-eun on the inside, Kurashio's on the outside, but I think it looks to me that So Byung-eun has been able to clear Rustin Kurashio finally. Cheon starts lap 53, 52 laps complete here in Fuji Speedway on what has got to be a very, very emphatic win for Hololive. And as you can see here, Cheon is in the lead. Rustin Kurashio currently in 6th at the very least. Really in 18th. Fabio Mendes up in 11th. At Sky currently in 14th place. Hololive fans, the secret society of Hololive, have got to be waiting for this moment since they started breaking out in late 2022. So Byung-eun and Rustin Kurashio still trading blows between each other at one point. But now So Byung-eun is gonna have to lock in his 5th place. The driver inside the top 10 might see themselves get inside the studio after all. Maybe not for Daniel Barger because he is so quite far behind in the Zako that he might just not be able to make it in after all. But for the drivers who are already in the studio, who are not performing at their best, especially for some of the Team Lexus drivers, especially the likes of Vlasa Damashnev, especially for the likes of Vlasa Damashnev, Callum Gibbons, Maverick Duciem, and Alex Grant only down in 16th place. That might not be enough. Kamine Reba is also not going to be scoring inside the points. Jake Goodwin is only in 20th place. There's going to be a massive shakeup here on who will be making it into the Studio and who will be making it into the Zako. But what we know for sure is that Rustin Kurashio has that first spot. But who will have the remaining 19 spots? Yu Cheon remains in control in this race. Since overtaking the lap car of Mohamed Cashew, he has been able to open up the gap. But this time there might be some problems here. This time we see Altson Chanarao trying to find a way past Murasaki Chion's Yuzuhara Liu, and which Liu himself is 6 seconds behind Johan Sinfold. Again, as you mentioned here, Chanarao is going to be set to finish no points. For the first, it's going to be the first instance of a driver who failed to score points in a championship since the postseason. But this one has to sting even more because back then the points were only awarded to the top 15. This time the points are awarded to the top 30. So only 4 positions are at a at a position where they don't have any points on offer. For Antaro, of course, he is still continuing on despite the odds. He will continue on despite his challenge, despite his time in the studio pretty much over as a contest at this point. Well, it has been since the second round, if we were to be honest. But anyway, let's take a look into some few standout drivers here. Yu Cheon has been breaking out into the ARO season and has been absolutely killing it in Hololive GT3. Of course, that also has to tie to Takani Louis showcasing her skill in the showcasing her commitment to the original uniforms. Now Yu Cheon is about to cross the line to start the final lap of this qualifiers season, the final lap of the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji. Elton Tanaro is going to go for one last lunge down the inside of Kizuhara Leo. He's doing it for pride. He's doing it for the Onigirias. Despite the season very much well against Antaro. Antaro is not going to take this line down. He's not going to give up. He's going to give it all. 100%. Even if he's not going to make it into the studio, he's going to at least try to get something out for the Onigirias watching. Meanwhile, you have Yu Cheon slightly blocked by Antaro trying to mount a challenge against Kizuhara Leo, which came to nothing. Yu Cheon representing the current leader of Hololive and secretary, if you want to call her that, Takane Louis. Mommy figure, mommy legs, very thick on the thighs. Her Louis Tomo watching. Enjoys Takane Louis for her sleek moves and her dominating figure. It's one of the newer Hololive GT3 rides also, as Hololive only debuted their original uniforms in late 2022. Yu Chaeyeon herself only made her debut after round 2. Continuing on the performance from Dan Evans, Yu Chaeyeon rounds out the final corner, finishing off the qualifier season. It's the driver from South Korea, Yu Chaeyeon, for Takane Louis, car number 61. The Louis Tomos have something to cheer about. Yu Chaeyeon wins the Capture the Moment 500 at Fuji. Hofumi captures a clutch second place alongside Shakib Reza. There might be some adjustments to the running order here, as there is a bit of an issue with the timing tower because some drivers are going to be incorrectly placed. Looks like it's going to be Shakib Reza Fumi second, Shakib Reza third, Goyena fourth, Byung-eun fifth, Kurashio sixth. Salomon will finish in 7th. Sergeant Reza will finish in 8th in his final race at Fuji in Hololive GT3. Tyler Williams 9th. Daniel Barger will come out of this race in Fuji inside the top 10. Oh no, rather no. Ari Nakamura is already inside the top 10. Daniel Barger will just be outside in 11th. Fabi Mendes 12th. Hartoyo 13th. Sky 14th. And for Hartoyo, his time to compete in the Suyo is going to be over. He will be placed inside the Zako. Sky 14th. It may not be enough for him to maintain his place in the Suyo, but he has to be very happy for his other Hololive teammates. Damashna 15th, Grant 16th, Rohan 17th, Mikolev 18th, Liu 19th, Jake Goodwin 20th, Kizuhara Leo 21st, and Leo is 19th, 22 Sean Pauli, Richie Rod 23rd, and all that stuff. But we'll talk about all the other drivers later. First of all, let's all congratulate Yu Chaeyeon for an amazing race from start to finish. Great stuff from the Takane Louis driver to finally seal her place in the Suyo, alongside Hofumi in second, hopefully. Mawashaki Reza third place for Momo Suzunene will look to also seal his place inside the Suyo. Daniel Goyena fourth for Usada Pecora. He will lock himself into the Suyo, as well as So Byung-eun and Rustin Kurashio, representing Shiranui Flair and Laplace respectively. Kasasama and Shadar Reza have not enough to place themselves inside the Suyo, representing Aski and Himori Luna respectively. And then we have Tyler Williams for Amane Kanata, who have won the race prior at Okayama. He will also lock himself into the Suyo for Amane Kanata alongside Ai Nakamura. In 10th place, she will also lock herself into the Suyo. Daniel Barger just finishing outside of the top 10. A very, very good race given the circumstances for Hoshimachi Suisei. He finishes 11th for Hoshimachi Suisei. For Fabi Mendes, 12th for Hakui Koyori. Ali Fartoyo will see his hopes of qualifying in the Suyo come crashing down alongside Ed Sky, who have seen other drivers perform better than him. Fabi Mendes 14th. Fabi Mendes also on a precarious position. He will probably not be able to be in the Suyo. Damashna 15th. He was in a precarious position. He might just be in the Suyo, but we'll have to check on that later. Alex Grant 16th for Yukian Alami. He will also probably be bumped out of the Suyo. Jeff Rohan will probably still be safe in the Suyo. Isakaji Mikolov, on the other hand, will be out of it. He will compete in the Zako alongside Ri Liu. And Jake Goodwin will be in a precarious position as well. For Mikolev and Ri Liu, their spots in the Zako will be secure. Kaczynski 21st for Yusuke Shoko. He will be set to continue racing in the Suyo. And Sean Pauli, on the other hand, he might be safe as well. Richie Rod and Michael Turner, they will not compete in the Suyo. After having an abysmal time in qualifying. Rim Olgor will most likely survive the drop into the Suyo. He will drop into the Zako. He will probably compete in the Suyo. Lorenzo Ricci maybe, as well as Callum Gibbons. Maverick Ducien will see his time in the Suyo crashing down. He will compete only in the Zako. Same goes for Kaminari Riba. Johansson, who was already outside of the Suyo spots coming into this race, is already down in on the final points positions. Kizuhara Leo will unfortunately compete in the Zako alongside Alex Santana, who will be the only driver in the qualifiers who will score no points. Mama Cashew 33rd also will compete in the Zako after having a very promising start of the season with Aaron Mazzi and Jeff Clark, obviously the last driver out, 2 drivers a lap down. Both of these drivers very much unremarkable. Of course, IMA is not coming into the original uniforms up to this point, so you got a feel for the team. Jeff Clark will end his time in Hololive GT3 qualifiers in the last place spot. He will not be in last in the standings, and that will be to Antanarao, but he will not compete in the Suyo. He will compete in the Zako. So let's go on board with the bit of a replay thing to see what has actually happened in Fuji Speedway as the race basically unfolded. And as you can see here, the pole sitter at the time, who was actually Yu Chae-yeon, she actually converted this race very, very well there from start to finish. So let's take a look into what happened to Jeff Clark. So obviously he might have an accident somewhere. Oh no. Oh dear, that was a bit ugly. So let's take a look into the replays here to see what has happened to Jeff Clark here. He was on a side-by-side battle with Wim Olgaard coming out of turn 1. So there was an accident between Jeff Clark and Olgaard, and as you can see here, it's a 3-wide battle. Richie was in the inside, Clark was in the middle, and as you can see here, he was involved in an accident. There was a huge amount of suspension damage, and that is basically Clark's race over. So let's go on board on his rear view to see what's happened next. See here, a late lunge down the inside, and oh, that is a hefty hit for Jeff Clark. Real left suspension damage. No wonder he's not going to be able to continue. So let's go about to check one of the other angles here. First of all, we're going to go on board Lorenzo Ricci here. You can see here there's already a side-by-side battle here between Wim Olgaard and Jeff Clark. And you can see here Ricci down the inside, and as you can see, no space there. But then again, they're battling toward the lower end of the table, so the impact of the championship will be quite minimal. So the stewards might decide that this will only be a racing incident. People might say otherwise, but we're just going to try to keep this as possible. And so that's not the only incident that we want to highlight, because there's also the unfortunate incident with Antanarao. Now, if you want to know what happened to Antanarao, he was side by side with Danilo Goyena. And as you can see here in the replays, saw the championship standings here. But anyways, Antanarao was battling against Goyena. You can see here. Oh, that was absolutely gut-wrenching for Antanarao. It's actually a mistake from Antanarao. You can see here in the onboards, especially in the rears. You can see here. Oh no, he actually went off on the grass as he was braking. So unfortunate for Antanarao. Again, in a season beset with mistakes left, right, and center. You can see Antanarao just dipped the curb and the grass on the rear right tire, and that loses control of his car. And obviously that stalled the car to the point where he had to get himself back into the pits to get himself back off the speed, and unfortunately that cost him a spot inside the points. Again, not much we can say about it other than very much unfortunate. So we'll go on board to see. Well, no, I'm gonna go on board. We're about to basically check on the final qualifier standings before we close off the qualifying season for good and prepare ourselves for the Suyo/Zako series coming up in June. So let's take a look into the championship standings here. Chucky Rizzo, of course, has been confirmed to set the fastest lap of the race so far. And meanwhile, let's take a look into the final standings here. And there's going to be some very interesting insight here. Ignore the message about saying that, oh, sorry, you're not doing enough. You're not done enough. You gotta try again. Ignore that one. We're looking at the Wrestling Karacho formerly winning the 2024 Hololive GT3 Japan Series Qualifiers title. He was literally on top, so we'll be giving the trophy of with Rust and Crashio later on. Crystal Salomon ends up being the best Honda NSX in the field, just pipping Irene Nakamura by about 13 points. Yu Chaeyeon and Tyler Williams have single-handedly placed themselves inside the top 5 with their very good results, especially for Yu Chaeyeon, who was out of the studio 2 races prior. Marcelo Reza gets himself into 6th place alongside Sobyong in 7th. Danilo Goyena and Hofu Mi also makes a surprise entry into the Studio Series alongside Jeff Rohan in 10th. Raji Kaczynski, Sean Pauly, Vlasa Tomasnev, Roland Ricci, and Ed Sky make up the 11th to 15th spots. Linking into 16th and 20th, it's going to be pretty surprising to see only 5 Lexus cars compete for the studio, from what we're seeing here. With Rim Allboard, Jake Goodwin, Alex Grant, Mohammed Shakib Reza, and Callum Gibbons with the skim of his teeth, just being able to barely qualify for the studio. And then the first drivers out, Usuka Jimiko, Kaminari Riva, Maverick UCM, Fabio Mendez, and Daniel Barger. Barger did try as much as he could, but it was not enough. And then we have Liu, Johan Jin, Pizarro Liu, Alex Parkoyo, and Michael Turner also not making it into the studio. They will compete in the Zako. And then coming into the final 4 spots, Jeff Clark, Richie Rod, Alan Cashew, and Alex Santaro, rounding out the final 14 spots. They will compete in the Zako. But for those who say maybe it's going to be a bit a shame that we're only going to be seeing 14 cars, there may be a surprise later on, because there might be rumors that Regal's cars are going to be entered into the Zako by default anyway, so that's going to be some good news for them as well. So with that out of the way, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the stream here in Fuji Speedway. We hope everyone here has enjoyed a season of Hololive GT3 racing throughout the qualifiers phase, from the highlands of Sportsline Sugo to the base of Mount Fuji in Fuji Speedway. We thank everyone for being able to tune into this qualifiers race. I'm Mama Reza in the commentary booth, of course, and we'll see you in June for when we are about to start the Serious Zako series in the Hololive GT3 Japan series. We'll see you there.